This is Nafeesa Monroe. This is the Tempest, Act 1, Scene 2. The island before Prospero's cell, essentially his living quarters, if you will. Enter Prospero and Miranda. If by your heart, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. Oh, a brave vessel, who had no doubt some noble creature in her dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frotting souls within her. Prospero, be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done. Miranda. Oh, woe the day, Prospero, no harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee. Of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father, Miranda. More to know, did never meddle with my thoughts. Actually, I should say that again. Miranda. More to know, did never meddle with my thoughts. Prospero, 'tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me, so. He lays down his mantle, or his cloak. Lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the wreck which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered, that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair, betide to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou saw'st sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther. Miranda, you have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and led me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet. Prospero, the hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear, obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came into this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old. Miranda, certainly, sir, I can. Prospero, by what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image, tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance. Miranda, 'tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me? Prospero, thou hadst, and more. Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest. Let's say that sentence again. If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here. It's a hard sentence. If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest. Miranda, but that I do not. Prospero, 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan, and a prince of power. Miranda, sir, are not you my father? Prospero, thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and thou his only heir, and princess no worse issued. Miranda, oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed wast we did? Prospero, both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither. Miranda, oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to. which is from my remembrance, please you farther. Prospero, my brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to put him the manage of my state, as at that time through all the signories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study. The government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me? Miranda, sir, most heedfully. Prospero, being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine. I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear. That now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk, and sucked my verdure, I'm not sure how to say that word, out on't. Thou attend'st not, Miranda. Oh, good sir, I do. Prospero, I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but by being so retired, or prized all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound, he being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might also exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the duke. Out of the substitution, and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear, Miranda? Your tale, sir, would cure deafness. Prospero, to have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute millen. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates. So dry he was for sway with the king of Naples to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed, alas, poor Malone. I gotta start that one again. All right, so Miranda says, your tale, sir, would cure deafness. Prospero says, to have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute millen. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates. So dry he was for sway with the king of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed, alas, poor millen, to most ignoble stooping. Miranda, oh, the heavens. Prospero, mark his condition and the event. Then tell me if this might be a brother. Miranda, I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons. Prospero, now the condition. The king of Naples, being an enemy to me, inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was, that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair millen with all the honors on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self. Miranda, alack for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to't. Prospero, hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now upons us. which now's upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent. Miranda. Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us? Prospero. Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively had quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong. Miranda. Alack, what trouble was I then to you? Prospero. Oh, a cherubim. Thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven when I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue. Miranda. How came we ashore? Prospero. By providence divine. Some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. So of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom. Miranda. Would I might but ever see that man. Prospero. Now I arise. Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princesses can that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful. Miranda. Heavens, thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm. Prospero. Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune. Now my dear lady hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep, 'tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Miranda sleeps. Come away, servant. Come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come. Enter Ariel. Ariel. All hail, great master. Grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task. Ariel and all his quality. Prospero. Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee? Ariel. Ariel. To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin. I flamed amazement. Sometime I'll divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit, would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors, or the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seems to besiege, and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake. Prospero. My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason. Ariel. Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine, and quit the vessel. Then all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair up staring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Prospero. Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore? Ariel. Close by, my master. Prospero. But are they, Ariel, safe? Ariel. Not a hair perished. On their stunning garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badst me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in this sad knot. Prospero. Of the king's ship the mariners say how thou hast disposed and all the rest of the fleet. Ariel. Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up a midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermuths. There she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffered labor I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples. Supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish. Prospero. Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of day? Ariel. Past the mid-season. Prospero. At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must be us both. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously. Ariel. Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me. Prospero. How now, moody? What is't thou canst demand? Ariel. My liberty. Prospero. Before the time be out. No more. Ariel. I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistaking, served without a grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year. Prospero. Dost thou forget from what torment I did free thee? Ariel. No. Prospero. Thou dost, and think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost. Ariel. I do not, sir. Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her? Ariel. No, sir. Prospero. Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak, tell me. Ariel. Sir, in Argier. Prospero. Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forget'st. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, to enter human hearing from Argier. I'm not sure how to say that. To enter human hearing from Argier, thou knowest what was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true? Ariel. Aye, sir. Prospero. This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, wast then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and aboard commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee, by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then when this island, save for the sun that she did litter there, a freckled whelp hag born, not honored with a human shape. Ariel. Yes, Caliban, her son. Prospero. Dull thing, I say so. He that Caliban, whom now I keep in service, thou best knows what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves' howls and penetrate the beasts. No, that's not right. Prospero. I'm going to say that one again. Prospero. Dull thing, I say so. He that Caliban, whom now I keep in service. Thou best knowest what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of every angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out. Ariel, I thank thee, master. Prospero, if thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails, till thou hast howled away 12 winters. Ariel, pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently. Prospero, do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee. Ariel, that's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do? Prospero, go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go take this shape, and hither come in. Go, hence with diligence. Exit Ariel. And then Prospero speaks to Miranda. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well, awake, Miranda. The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me. Prospero, shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer. Miranda, 'tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on. Prospero, but as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What, ho, slave, Caliban, thou earth, thou, speak! Caliban, who's inside. There's wood enough within. Prospero, come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise. When? Re-enter Ariel like a water nymph. Prospero says to him, fine apparition, my quaint Ariel. Hark in thine ear, Ariel. My lord, it shall be done. Ariel exits. Prospero then says, thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth. Enter Caliban. Caliban, as wicked dew as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. A southwest blow on ye and blister you all o'er. Prospero, for this be sure tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall for that vast of night that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made them. Caliban, I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me and madest much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in, and teach me how to name the bigger light and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren place, and fertile. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you. For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the island? Prospero, thou must be lying, slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child. Caliban, wouldn't had been done. Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Calibans. Prospero, abhorred slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that int which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into his rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison. Caliban, you taught me language, and my profit on't is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language. Prospero, hag seat hence! Fetch us in fuel and be quick, thou'rt best. To answer other business. Shrugg'st thou malice? If thou neglect'st or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din. Caliban, no, pray thee. I must obey. His art is of such power, it would control my damned god Setebus and make a vassal of him. Prospero, so slave, hence! Exit Caliban. Re-enter Ariel, invisible, playing and singing. Okay, we're gonna stop there. This is still Act 1, Scene 2, believe it or not. But we'll pick up there in the next video. It'll be like Act 1, Scene 2, Part B. Hope that you enjoyed any of this, especially the mistakes, right? And we'll see you again. Okay. Bye. Hope you're well. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face like I did. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, stay home.